All right, my Puddle Road buddies, I'm going to jump on the P Diddy train for just a minute. I'm not here to talk about all the accusations or the nasty details of the freak off parties and all that stuff. But there is one little part of this whole weird situation that I think has to do with you fulfilling your purpose in your life. So stick around and we're going to talk about how this crazy story may just have something to do with your future. Thanks for being with me on Puddle Road. Yeah, so I don't know if P. Diddy, it's so weird to say that, if P. Diddy is as popular or famous now as he was when I was a teenager. When I was young, he was more on the artistry side of the music industry. He was putting out music. I think today he's more behind the scenes, but you've absolutely heard the story about his house being raided and these years of these freak off parties and all the craziness that has been going on there and all the crime involved with the whole thing. It's just a gigantic scandal. The whole world is seeing now what has been going down. But my thoughts are not so much on Sean Combs. Is that his name? Puff Daddy Sean Combs. Yeah, my thoughts are not so much on him, but about the people who were there, the people who were around him. What are they thinking about right now? How many of them are just peeing down their leg, wondering what their future is going to look like? If this story tells us anything, it is so important to choose our company, our friends, our business associates, our mentors, to choose the people that we have in our lives wisely. There's so much to that. The obvious part is the influence. You know, 1 Corinthians 15:33 says that bad company corrupts good morals. And that's true. You become like the people you are around. It just happens. Sometimes you influence them, sometimes they influence you. We can talk more about that another time. But the other part is your reputation. You build a reputation through the people that you hang out with. And there were so many people at these parties. There were musicians and artists and actors and businessmen and politicians. And there was even a really famous pastor who had been seen at some of these parties. And whether they did anything or not, maybe they were just there for the innocent part. Maybe they didn't engage in any of the nastiness going on in the back rooms, or maybe they left before all of that stuff started. But whether they were involved with the bad stuff or not, if they were there, especially if they were there regularly, there is, if not guilt by association, at least question by association. I can't imagine the questions that this pastor has had to answer. And maybe he was there for a good reason. Maybe he was there to witness to the guy and lead him to Jesus. But all this talk about the frequency and the casualness of it, and there are just so many questions. There's going to be questions, and he's going to have to deal with those questions for a really long time, not just from his congregation, but probably from the feds, like probably from investigators. This is not going away. Who you are around determines your reputation. I learned this when I was in middle school. I was one of those kids that always followed the rules. I mean, always. I was a people pleaser. I never got in trouble because I didn't like to get in trouble. It it freaked me out. I couldn't stand to disappoint anybody in authority. And when I did get yelled at or reprimanded or disciplined, it just messed me up. I hated it. Well, I had a very good friend. He was the opposite. He liked to push the boundaries. He liked to challenge authority. He liked the thrill of getting into trouble. And I was at his house one day. I remember this day. And we were just messing around, goofing off. And he had a hatchet. And he convinced me that we needed to go into this wooded area with this hatchet and just hang out, maybe cut down some trees, whatever. And as we're going into the wooded area, it was a good ways from his house. I just started feeling uneasy. You know what I mean? Like, we're not doing anything wrong. I just, this is too far beyond my boundaries, and I'm not feeling good about it. But he wanted to do it. I didn't want to look like a pansy. You know how it is. I wanted, and it kind of felt a little bit freeing to be with my bad boy buddy out doing bad boy stuff, even though I had no intention of doing anything actually bad, but just the feeling of that freedom. And so we go through this little wooded area. We're doing nothing wrong. Nothing. I had no intention of doing anything wrong. But we were going through this wooded area. He had the hatchet, and we come out on the other side of the woods. And we step into this guy's backyard. It was a yard. And as soon as we stepped onto the property, I don't know where he came from. I don't know if he was hanging in a tree and rappelled down. I don't know. He just appeared out of nowhere. This older man, he was a bigger guy, standing over us, losing his mind, screaming, yelling, talking about how kids have been coming into his yard and destroying his property, and he knows it was us. It's been us the whole time. He's got proof. We've come with a hatchet to tear up his house and his yard. I mean, losing his mind. He knows who we are, and he's going to report us. And I'm the kid that hates confrontation and hates getting in trouble. That was an absolute horrifying experience for me. Standing there, knowing I did nothing wrong, but being told by this guy that he knows it was me, and I'm going to be in trouble and I'm going to be reported. And it was just a bad day. But I learned a really good lesson that you don't necessarily have to be guilty to be seen as guilty. Who you're with and what they're doing when you are with them says a lot to other people about you, whether it's true or not. And so here's the thing I want to leave with you. You have a purpose. God has given you a purpose in your life, and you may have an inkling of what that is. A talent that you have, a desire for something you want to accomplish with your life, a passion, whatever it is, you have a purpose that God has given you. And I want to encourage you to not let that purpose get shipwrecked by the company you keep. All these people that were at these Diddy parties, their lives are about to be shipwrecked. Some of them maybe who weren't even involved in the nasty stuff, but their name is on the visitor roll or whatever it is, and there's going to be a reckoning. Don't let your purpose be shipwrecked by the company that you keep. Proverbs 13:20 says, walk with the wise and you'll become wise. For a companion of fools suffers harm. If you hang with the wise, man, you're going to become wise. If you hang with people who have good intentions and who encourage you to be better and do better, it's going to affect you. If you are hanging with people who are into no good, who are leading you down the wrong way, who are teaching you to be apathetic and to be rebellious, and that's their life, it's gonna rub off. Don't let your purpose be shipwrecked by the company that you keep. Pick your friends, your associates, your mentors. Pick them wisely. All right? Because I want to see you fulfill the purpose that God has for you in your life. And one of the big pieces of that puzzle is choosing your friends and your circle, choosing those people wisely. And I just want to say thank you for choosing me, for picking me as a voice in your life. It's awesome. I love having you with me, and I will see you next time on Puddle Road.